some big news coming out of Chicago this morning, and that is that the Bulls announcing that Jim Boylen has been relieved of his duties as head coach of the team.
Hell no. That is not a job you want. Stay away from the job, okay? Zach LaVine can ball, Markkanen can ball, but they don't have a lot of talent. The organization, too many question marks. The Last Dance with Michael Jordan didn't help the organization's reputation. Gar Forman and those boys are gone. Nobody needs to touch that job right now. Sorry.
Chicago Bulls have hired Billy Donovan as their new head coach.
20 NBA draft. Chicago Bulls select Patrick Williams from Florida State University.
Really been able to blossom as a player very well. But I said this yesterday. I was like, how come nobody's talking about Patrick Williams? That guy that came off the bench, averaged 9 points, but still, the size, the frame, the dexterity, his versatility, the way he can defend. Like, he can defend in multiple positions. And look, the fit with Lauri Markkanen and company, Wendell Carter.
I love this move for Chicago Bulls. So the Bulls and Patrick Williams, 4th overall.
Right. Shot good and it's up. He took it right at Harold.
The Bulls with another chance. LaVine.
Oh, stop it!
No.
Stop it!
Zach.
Stop it, Zach LaVine! Oh my goodness! Are you kidding me?
The improbable.
Rebound back tap. Picked up by Kobe. Behind his back to Don.
What a pass, Kobe White.
With his left hand.
Those are piling up in this one. Oh, there's a block for Zach. Hit ahead off the touch pass, and look up.
Oh, flight 8.
What's going on, everybody? It is Rampage 81 here, back with a new series. We are going to be taking over the Chicago Bulls franchise in this MyLeague mode. So I chose the Chicago Bulls because I felt like they're in a midst of a lot of change. They have a young roster that we'll talk a little bit about later. They just fired their GM and Garpax. That front office is out. Mark Eversley, formerly with Philadelphia, is in. They have a new coach. Jim Boylen is gone. Billy Donovan comes in from OKC to try to develop these young pieces and get the Bulls back on track. So when you look at this franchise, I think we all glamour back to the 90s with Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman. But if you just take out those measly 6 titles that Jordan got them, this franchise has really not had much success at all, especially since Michael left. So ever since that last season with Mike in 98, the Bulls have only made one conference finals. That only conference finals coming in 2011 under Tom Thibodeau, where the Bulls played the Miami Heat and lost the series 4-1. So not even a very competitive series really with Miami. They were just overmatched by LeBron and D-Wade and company. So the Bulls really have not had much success since the 90s, and hopefully we can build this team up to where they are back into the title hunt every single year, and you can kind of fill them in to make the playoffs at least. So let's kind of start off where the Bulls finished last season. They finished 22-23, which is an awful record, only winning about a third of their games. They were first in turnovers created. So if you didn't watch the Bulls last year, which I don't blame you, Jim Boylen implemented this trapping system where basically Bulls players were going for steals almost every single play, giving up baskets, but in an effort to create turnovers and get out on the break. And this, I guess you could say, kind of worked because they ended up leading the league in steals, leading the league in turnovers created. So that was one positive for the Bulls. So that is about it for the positives from last season. So with that, the Bulls were bottom 5 in points per game, rebounds per game, in which they were the worst defensive rebounding team in the league last year. Field goal percentage, opponent field goal percentage, and offensive rating. So basically the Bulls struggled in all those assets of the game. Not a good rebounding team, not a very efficient scoring team. They don't score a lot anyway. They give up a lot of easy buckets. So we're going to have to work on all of that in this upcoming season. So let's get into the players that create this roster. We have such an interesting mix of young talent here, and that is one thing I will say about this roster. It is young. There is not a lot of veteran presence for the young guns that this roster is. So starting off with the star player, I think everyone knows Zach LaVine. He's 25. He's scorer. He averaged 25.5 points per game, although not very efficient. He is a bucket getter. He doesn't play a lot of defense. He likes to have the ball in his hands. Not a great playmaker, but is improving in that area. So we'll have to keep developing him and see where his potential can go from there. The next guy I want to talk about is the number 4 overall pick in the draft, Patrick Williams out of FSU. He is a long, big body. He might play some stretch 4, might play the 3. We don't really know. And he might even be able to guard 2s effectively if he can keep up with quicker players. So I think that's a very interesting prospect we have there in him. And then obviously his negatives, he's going to have to develop that shot and become somewhat of a spot shooter to at least give some spacing to the offense. So the next interesting young piece on this team is Kobe White, in my opinion. He is a straight bucket getter, kind of like Zach LaVine, but he has better ball handling. He's more of a true point guard. Struggles like LaVine defensively. Playmaking should get a little bit better if he wants to start at the 1. I'm not really sure yet what the lineup's going to look like to start the season. He was very inefficient last year, just shot under 40%, which for a young player is kind of expected as a guy who didn't play in a great offense and puts up a lot of shots. You know, he wants to get his points in at the end of the day. So we're going to be trying to develop him into a more natural and true point guard and be able to run the 1 efficiently and effectively for our offense. So let's get down low to the bigs now, and we'll start off with Wendell Carter, who's going to be the starting center, I'm pretty sure. So he's supposed to be this defensive rim-running center who kind of protects the rim and finishes around the basket, a good rebounder, but has struggled to really stay healthy early on in his career. So hopefully he just stays on the floor this year and is able to develop some skills, and we can kind of assess him after the season. But he is a prospect I'm excited to have and play with for this season. And then we have the other young big in Lauri Markkanen. So the struggle with Markkanen is that where does he really fit in this league and in this offense, really? You know, he's a stretch 4-5 type, not very good defensively, can't protect the rim, not going to be able to stay in front of guys on the perimeter if we play a team with a stretch 4. So really the only possible way I see Markkanen starting is at the 5, and that's just if he becomes like a great shooter and offensive presence. Other than that, I maybe see him on a good team coming off the bench and providing some offensive punch for a backup unit. But hopefully Markkanen can build some of those shooting abilities and maybe even a little playmaking ability if he's going to play the 4 with Carter, because he's going to be on the perimeter a lot. So hopefully he develops in those areas in this season. So looking at this overall roster as a whole now, some positives I can see. Obviously, as I stated before, we are very young. There's not a lot of guys over 30 on this team. I think Thaddeus Young might be the only one, and maybe Satoransky. I'm not sure if he's 30 yet. But other than that, it is all guys under 30. So we have a lot of room for improvement, which is great for this upcoming season, which I'm not sure is going to be a great one, but hopefully we show some areas of improvement. And then other than that, I do see some scoring potential on this team with Kobe White and Zach LaVine and Lauri Markkanen. It's just going to be about the efficiency. And also this team comes into the year pretty healthy. You know, Markkanen and Carter have struggled to stay healthy. I don't know how many games Porter played last year, but I know it was not a lot, and that's just a great guy to have on the wing that you can pin into the starting lineup every night, who's going to give you defense and shooting. So that'll be an upside for the Bulls this year. I think this roster is really going to struggle defensively, just finding guys who fit in the right spaces. So like playing Markkanen and finding spots where him and maybe Kobe White can play together. It's going to be tough to have like 3 competent guys on the floor, 1 that can protect the rim and 2 that can defend on the perimeter all at the same time. So that and the rebounding, other than Wendell Carter, we just have no one who is a good rebounder. Markkanen is not a very good rebounder. Thaddeus Young, he's okay, but he's undersized at the 4, so I'm not really sure where our rebounding is going to come from. It might have to come from some of the guards. Maybe Patrick Williams and Otto Porter can help that, but I'm not really expecting that. And then lastly, passing. We have no true point guard, really. Satoransky is the closest thing we have to that. And other than him, I'm not sure we have a average to above average passer on the roster. Hopefully one of these guys can develop into a good passer, but I'm not really expecting that either. So for this season, I'm not expecting a playoff berth. Maybe contend for the 8th seed if we have a really good season somehow and get some luck on our side. But I'm really just looking for players who I can build around and just roles they can fill. I'm hoping Patrick Williams develops, Markkanen develops, Levine, Kobe White. So that's all we're going to be looking for this year. So I've gone through all my notes on this team and kind of am ready to start this season and get it going. So next episode will be our first game where we are playing the defending champion Los Angeles Lakers. I hope you guys come back and tune in for that one. It should be a fun game. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys next time.